Hi friends, this is Coach Dave Daubenmire at newswithviews.tv at newswithviews.com. Thanks for joining us here today. You know, I was watching a basketball game the other night, and like so many of you guys, I got a favorite team that I like to root for, and when things seem to not be going their way, especially if the game gets close, I love to blame the referees. So, that's a lousy call. Or, you know, how you have got 5 guys, can't beat 7 guys, can't beat 8 guys, just whatever, you know, blaming the referees for what's going on. And we all hate to watch athletic competition where there is injustice. Isn't it amazing that the Lord also hates injustice? In fact, he tells us in the book of Isaiah that he saw that there was no justice. It displeased him that there was no justice. Don't you hate it when your team goes on the road and they get homered, and meaning the hometown refs is the way it used to be. A small town, one small town would go play the other small town, and the hometown team would have their hometown referees that say, hey, they got homered. They got homered, meaning the rules weren't fair. Was it just me, or is America rapidly moving into a situation where people are getting homered? The rules aren't fair, that there are in fact 2 sets of justice out there for those who are politically connected and for those who are not politically connected. And if that is true, doesn't that displease the Lord? Isn't that part of the judgment that we see fall upon America? As most of you know, I've been following very closely the Ken Hovind trial down in Florida. And boy, I compared Dr. Hovind, what situation he's been through, with that of Al Sharpton, both of them having to do with issues with the IRS, and Ken Hovind in jail, Al Sharpton invited to the White House. And then I see that Hillary Clinton, evidently she's been breaking the law by keeping her emails on her private email account when she wasn't allowed to do that. I wonder if one of you were to get called into before the court, before the government, before the IRS, into some type of place where you had to produce your emails, if you could lie and get off with the same excuses that Hillary Clinton has been able to get off with. And one of the things that makes people so frustrated with what's going on in America is this idea that there are 2 sets of rules. We just had a judge here locally who got caught and charged with drunk driving, but wouldn't you know it, that after a series of trials, he was able to get off, not with drunk driving, but with leaving the scene of an accident. Would that work for you and I? Do we live in a nation today when you walk into a courtroom, are you really innocent until proven guilty? Or do you walk into a courtroom and you're guilty and you have to prove yourself innocent? One of the things that always discouraged me is when I would hear sometimes during election season, a prosecutor was running for office in the local county, and he'd run a commercial on TV and he would say, elect me and I'll put those criminals behind the bars right where they belong. That always bothered me. I thought, pal, that's not your job. The job of a prosecutor is not to put people behind bars. The job of a prosecutor is justice. Justice. And a prosecutor ought to present a case not to win the case, but to see that justice is done. Folks, justice is supposed to be blind. But we know that that's not true, that there are, in fact, 2 sets of rules. Those who are connected and those who aren't connected. And I believe that that is an abomination before Almighty God. It's Coach Dave Daubenmire at newswithviews.tv at newswithviews.com. Thanks. We'll see you next time.